This time, everything's been so unpredictable, and just to have them home safe and sound is just unbelievable.
It could have been their final goodbye. Now, many of the sons, husbands, and good friends are safely back from war. Not even they could resist the sight of home. 13 service personnel stepped down from the giant Hercules transport plane to a modest hero's welcome, lips passing their loved ones and liquor passing their lips for the first time in weeks. Some were stirred by their renewed freedom. What's the first thing you're going to do when you get home?
Yeah, well, that's a hard question.
New Zealand's airmen weren't directly involved in the fighting, but they were close to it. Food, ammunition, and water supplies were dropped off less than 15 kilometers from the borders. But even at base, they weren't always safe.
Over the time that we were there, we had 30 to 40 Scuds fired at Riyadh, and that certainly gave us cause for concern.
The country deployed the transport crews just before Christmas. One serviceman was given his mission on the night of his wedding engagement. War, he says, taught him lessons on a frontier he'll never forget.
It's the first time I've ever seen anything like this. Sort of scared myself a few times, but it was good. A good experience. Something I think I would have regretted not seeing.
But New Zealand's mission in the Gulf is not over. 100 airmen and medics have yet to come home. Marty McNamara, 3 National News.
In the United States, it was also a time of reunion. The first American troops returned home from the Gulf today, and this time the soldiers coming back from a distant war were welcomed as heroes.
Quite a sight over Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. The first land-based F-15s ordered to the Gulf were the first to come home. They flew from the desert to a sea of red, white, and blue. After thousands of takeoffs in the Gulf, this was the landing of their dreams.
Words can't describe it right now. I thought during that whole 7 months we were over there that it was never going to end.
Some of these pilots and support crews had only 4 hours notice last August to pack up and move out. Reason enough for one woman in the crowd to show up in her wedding dress.
We got married on August the 7th of 1990, and he left out of here August the 8th of 1990. We slept out on the tarmac on our wedding night.
Even at stopovers in New York and Maine, strangers are giving the troops a hero's welcome en route to bases in North Carolina, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, and California.
You are historic. You are heroes. And now, best of all, you are home.
From Fort Stewart to Fort Bragg, where the 82nd Airborne arrived home in the same desert camouflage uniforms they wore in the Gulf, the shower of patriotism and good feelings did not go unappreciated.
I'm prouder to be an American today than I've ever been in my life, and I've been pretty proud.
Yet the day had its share of sorrow as well. At Arlington National Cemetery, Army Private First Class Robert Daugherty was laid to rest, killed in a non-combat munitions accident in Saudi Arabia. For other soldiers today, the relief was evident. In Maine, Sergeant Kevin Tillman grabbed a saxophone from a high school band member.
The Hercules crew flew many missions in support of the Allied forces, and they were among the first into Kuwait after the Iraqi rout. What they saw there shocked them.
If you've seen Kuwait, they absolutely trashed the place. They destroyed it. And they took everything they wanted and left. And I think it was right that the coalition went in.
100 New Zealand servicemen and women are still in the Gulf. It's not yet known when they'll be back. But with the war at an end and Kuwait free, they too should soon be reunited with their families at home. Mark Boyd, One Network News.
From their soldiers home. That euphoria wasn't matched in Britain. The mood there was sombre as the bodies of 17 British soldiers who were killed in the Gulf War were brought home today. Nearly half were teenagers. And among the dead were the 9 soldiers killed by friendly fire when an American warplane mistakenly attacked their armored carrier.
Every day in America, another funeral. The simple ceremonies almost lost amid a nation's relief that so few died. 120 killed in combat. For the survivors, a hero's welcome. Sergeant James Crew was wounded in Iraq. He was wounded in Vietnam, but no one cheered for him then. This time, it's different. The 24th Mechanized Infantry Division, first into the Gulf, came back this morning. This was their proudest march, and for their families, no time to hold back. For the troops, the first taste of something Saudi couldn't provide. The first planes out were the first back in style. 6 F-15 fighters with 30 missions apiece behind them. They paved the way for victory. Their success gives the Air Force a more powerful voice in the US military. And the military's voice is now stronger too. Politicians and employers are lining up to reward the troops. General Norman Schwarzkopf, it's joked, could walk onto the board of any company in America. In a month's time, every church bell across America will ring out in thanks. Until then, these men have the weekend off. Then it's back to work on Monday.